guys. Whee! Over to Jeremy, he's going to read Psalm 20.
Psalm 20, a psalm by David. I pray that God will answer you when you are sad. I pray that God will guard you and send you help. I pray that he will remember the worship gifts you gave him. I pray that God will give you what you wish for. I pray that he will make your plans work out. I pray that we'll shout and be glad when you win. I pray that we'll wave our flags in God's name. I pray that God will give you what you ask for. God answers his people from heaven. He saves them with his great power. Some people trust in horses. Some people trust in chariots. They will fall, but we trust in God. We stand strong.
Thank you, Jeremy. That was beautifully read. This psalm was written by David, and as we've seen in previous weeks, David was helped by God to defeat lions and bears while he was protecting his father's sheep. We see him helping David to fight Goliath and defeat him. And later on we find him leading great armies into battle and God giving him the victory. And in this psalm we see that God is still helping David, and David is still trusting in God. We see that where others are trusting in chariots and horsemen, he is trusting in God. Now these days we could be saying that we could trust in our wealth or our reputation and not depending on God. But here David is clearly saying that he is trusting God. And that is where we should be today, trusting in God, knowing that he will come and save us in power.
Some trust in chariots and some in horses. Some trust in chariots and some in horses, yeah. Some trust in chariots and some in horses. Some trust in chariots and some in horses, yeah. Alright, here we go! We trust in the name of the Lord our God. We trust in the name of the Lord our God. We trust in the name of the Lord our God, yeah. We trust in the name of the Lord our God. We trust in the name of the Lord our God. We trust in the name of the Lord our God, yeah. Some trust in money and some in fame. Some trust in money and some in fame, oh yeah. Some trust in money and some in fame. Some trust in money and some in fame, oh yeah. Alright you guys, but what about us? Hey! We trust in the name of the Lord our God. We trust in the name of the Lord our God. We trust in the name of the Lord our God, yeah. We trust in the name of the Lord our God. We trust
we can all find ourselves in need of help.
Mummy!
Oh, where am I? Dad? I'm lost. Can you come and pick me up?
Got no money left.
Hey, so we're talking about asking for help, aren't we? Well, I don't know about you, but that's something I find really, really hard and always have done. And that might be for quite a few reasons for different people. It might be that you've been brought up to be super independent and to believe that you have to do everything on your own. Or it might be that you just don't feel worthy of the help. Or it might be that you've asked for help and people have let you down. Or it could be that you've asked for help, people have been just too busy. It might be lots of different reasons, but it's something I find really, really tough. But there is one person that I've learned to trust totally, and that's God. I have seen so many miracles because, to be honest, I'm a bit scatty and a bit forgetful, and I often leave things to the last minute, and often my life has to run on miracles because I'm just not very good at doing all the things that I need to do. To be honest, I'm not even sure I could do my job without God turning up on a daily basis and sorting things out for me. So I thought I would share with you one of my favourite miracles that God, sorry about the pinging. I thought I'd share with you one of my favourite miracles that God turned up and did for us. And this was when we were going on holiday to New Wine, which is a big church camping event. It's so fun if you ever get the chance to go. And it happens in the summer, and there's about 12,000 people, 24,000 people over 2 weeks that go. And it's about a week long. And it used to take place, when we went, it used to take place in Somerset. So that's a couple of hours from our home. So we'd, typical me, we'd spent all day faffing around, and we decided we would get there for midday. So we rolled up about 5 o'clock, 5-ish hours late. Everything's just shutting. That would be about the time I'm just getting there. So we rolled up, very tired with my 2 little children. So they were 4 and 7 at the time. And my lovely friends who'd been there on time were all in a circle, beautifully arranged, with everything out and all their tents up, and they very kindly offered to help me out and put my tent up, which they did a lot because they're amazing. And they got my tent out of the bag and broke the news to me that I hadn't brought my tent poles, which I felt a bit silly, but I had left, and they're very polite about it. But I had forgotten the tent poles. So of course you can't put a tent up without any tent poles. And I thought, oh dear, I am over 2 hours away from home with 2 very small children, and it's really late, getting really late. And I thought, oh, I'm going to have to drive home and find the tent poles. It's a good thing I didn't, because I found out later that the tent poles weren't at home. They were actually in storage in a different country. So it's very good that we didn't go home and get them, because they wouldn't have been there. But what we did do was we went to ask for help. We went to ask for help from the stewards in the information centre in New Wine. And I got there and they were like, ooh, which is never a good sign when people do that noise, you know, oh dear, it's not looking good. And they said, oh, it's quite late now. Oh, what can we do? And they rang a few people and nothing came to anything, but they said, oh, you could try John the tent man. I was like, John the tent man? Okay. He's in a barn. Okay. Just round the corner. So they gave me directions, and me and my little 4-year-old and my 7-year-old trundled off, and I'm trying to be jolly, pretending everything's fine so they didn't worry. And we trundled off to this barn, and we looked around and we couldn't find John. I was like, hello, in this big sheep barn. And eventually John appeared, and I said, are you John? He said, I'm John. So that was a relief. We'd found the right person. I said, John, do you have any tents? And he said, it's that noise again. Didn't want to hear that noise. And he said, oh, I might have two. One of them's leaking. I thought, oh, I don't really want a tent that's leaking. That doesn't sound very fun. And he said, I do have another one, but it might not be where you need it. And I can't move it because it needs to be there for next week. And I was like, oh, okay. Oh, well, any tent's better than nothing. A tent would be brilliant. So he said, jump in my car. So being very trusting, I jumped in his car. Don't just jump in strangers' cars. It's not wise, but it was new wine, so we went for it. We jumped in his car and off we went in this big Jeep, which was really fun. And I thought, oh goodness, where is this tent going to be? And we were driving. And I noticed after a while we were getting closer to where I was camping. And I thought, oh, this might not be as bad as I first thought, because you camp in churches. So it's really, really important to be with your church, because then you're with all your friends. And we got closer and closer, and I thought, oh my goodness, this is really quite close indeed. And then we pulled up right near my friends, right in the middle of our campsite, and pulled up right beside my car. And I thought, okay, why are we stopping beside my car? And he said, right, out you get. And we jumped out, and he said, here's the tent. And just beside where my car was, there was a tent which wasn't being used. And he said, oh, they booked it for the wrong week. They booked it for this week, but they're actually coming next week. And I thought, oh my goodness. And he said, oh, you can have it. And I said, oh, but I don't know if I can afford it. And he said, oh, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that at the moment. We'll sort it out in the week. We'll work something out. And we got into the tent, and it was beautiful, and it didn't leak. And it was right where I was going to put my tent up. Not near to anybody else in the whole of the campsite, or for anyone else. Out of 12,000 people, it was just in the right place for me. So we did a little happy dance. And we put all our things in there, and I was very grateful to God for fixing our problems, because it was a better solution than I could have imagined. I would have driven home for 4 hours and realised that actually the tent pegs weren't there, which would have been a disaster. And John came back in the week and said that we could have the tent for a really cheap price. So we ended up having a much better holiday, because it was a better tent than we brought, or had failed to bring. So God had just the perfect solution for us, and it was a year when it really pelted it down with rain, so it was a really good tent, and we didn't get soaked and we didn't get flooded like everybody else. So we were very, 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 very grateful to God. So I just want to encourage you, if you find it difficult asking people for help, do try and ask people, but do pray to God and ask for his help, because he longs to help you, and he has the best solutions that are just so much better than we could do on our own. And he listens and he answers in prayers. So go on, ask him for help.
Our God is so powerful, nothing's too hard for him. And our God is reliable, so good he never changes. God, he made me, he knows what I need better than anyone. God, he loves me, he only wants good things for me. So I'm gonna fully rely on God, I'm gonna trust him with all I've got. I know he will never let me down. Fully rely on God, I'm gonna trust him with all I've got. Fully rely on God, 'cause he can do anything. Our God is so powerful, nothing's too hard for him. And our God is reliable, so good he never changes. God, he made me, he knows what I need better than anyone. And God, he loves me, he only wants good things for me. So I'm gonna fully rely on God, I'm gonna trust him with all let me down. Fully rely on God, I'm gonna trust Him with all I've got. Fully rely on God, 'cause He can't do anything. Fully rely on God. Fully rely on God. Fully rely on God. Yeah! Fully rely on God. I'm gonna trust Him with all I've got. I know He will never let me down. Fully rely on God. I'm gonna trust Him with all I've got. Fully rely on God, 'cause He can do anything. He can do anything. He can do anything.
We're going to finish with a prayer. Dear God, thank you that you are always listening. Thank you that you love to help us. Thank you that you are the same today as you were with David. Thank you that we can trust you with all our problems. Amen.
Given us a heart, given us a home, you've given us a heart, given us a home, you've given us a heart, given us a home with you. Yeah, we're bringing you our praise, we're bringing you our lives.